Winners never quit. There's so many lies that keep us burned out. You've been lied to. Winners never quit. They do quit. Difference is they quit the right things. I was just listening to a not a podcast. I was listening to a YouTube clip by Sandra Kimayu, and she talks about how many things that she had to unlearn as she left corporate. And I would like to tell you there's some things you need to unlearn if you want to stay in corporate, right? I'm Sophia, and I help women, driven women, climb in corporate without the cost of burnout because I burned out. And I want to challenge you to think what happens when you lead yourself differently, when you lead yourself so powerfully that things around you shift, the way you show up, the way others treat you, the way that you carry yourself. Now, you've heard of this phrase, winners never quit. Wait, just quick poll. Who's heard that one? Yeah, I'm not the only one. Well, I knew this phrase before I even knew how to spell. My grandmother ingrained it into me. I enjoyed running track. I ran the 100 meter. Look, I am no Flojo. Let me be clear. And for those of you who don't know who FloJo is, that's Florence, Florence Joyner. And she was like the fastest woman to run the 100 meter in 1988. So that is like ingrained in my mind. But that's not me, and I digress. Anyway, I carried that concept of winners never quit with me as my coach was telling me how to put my foot in the blocks, how to hold my posture together. Like I love to run, but there's an art to it and you got to perfect it if you really want to get to that finish line and get there the quickest. So I carried that with me to corporate. I ignored the fact that I was hungry. I ignored the fact that I treated my friends like crap because I was so focused on the next rotation, the next promotion, the next big win because I was determined. I had like this hunger inside of me. I was determined to grind it out, to make a name for myself, to show everyone, hey, I'm not a statistic. I can make it. I do have a thick skin. And that served me for a little bit. But those unrealistic deadlines, me meeting those deadlines and just bypassing everyone's expectations, I set the expectation that I'm a machine. I'm not a machine. Are you a machine? No. We cannot push through to make our goals. What if instead of pushing through, we rest through? I got that from a book. It's called Gentle by Courtney Carver. And when she said that, it really made me think, rest through? If I intentionally put rest stops or breaks or ways to rehydrate or recharge in my day, what would that look like? Let me ask, what would that look like for you? Hmm. I like the way that Mel Robbins puts it. She says that knowing when to pause or when to pivot is emotional intelligence. And for me, that means leaning into what my body is telling me. I talked before about just pushing through, ignoring that I was hungry, ignoring that I was thirsty, just grinding it through at my desk, just type away because I had to get that thing done, that project done. And you've seen it before. You're in your back-to-back meetings and someone says, hey, can we pause for a bio break? And what happens? People roll their eyes because what we all want to push through and just get it done. And number two, you're secretly wanting to take a bio break yourself. So we all do it. You know you've done it. But the way that I would do it is I would just nosh at my desk. I would eat snacks at my desk instead of taking the time to step away and go to the cafeteria or to actually eat away from my desk. No screen time. And that's what emotional intelligence in this case, that's what we're referring to, leaning into your body. My body is telling me it's tired. It's telling me it's thirsty. It's telling me I need to empty my bladder. So why don't I make time for those things? This is what I'm telling you. Winners do quit. They know how to do it and when to do it, to feed their leadership, to feed who they are as a person, so that way they can show up as their whole self instead of half stepping it. So Laurie Santos talks about strategic quitting. She talks a lot about happiness. And I know you're thinking, it's a corporate job. Who's trying to be happy? But just think, if you could weave a little bit of happiness into what you do or find the happy, it makes it less painful and less arduous. So she talks about, when you stick with things just because it reduces your happiness. And I can think of many things that I stuck through just because. Example, in corporate, you know how you go through the interview process, you like your hiring manager tells you what your group is going to be like, you look at the role, you know it's a good fit. One of these roles that I joined, I knew day one, like the way everyone, you know how you could just feel the culture, the culture of the company or the culture of the group. I knew day one when I walked in, this was a mistake. No one else has a bubbly personality like I do. No one else wants to talk or make time for change. Everyone is just so fixated on the fire drills. Everyone is counting down until their rotation is over. This is not where I want to be. But what did I do? I remember day one, I walked into the bathroom, the women's restroom, and I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, Sophia, you can do this for a year. You're going to suck it up. But why did I do that? Why was I sticking through it just because? And for me, I thought if I stick with it for a year, my resume would look good, which it will. It does look like a complete story. But what I forgot to think about and what I overlooked is what I would have to sacrifice in between. There were some times where I almost didn't make family engagements. My son's kindergarten graduation. I know it's kindergarten. I know it's a kindergarten graduation, but it's a special time for our family. It's a milestone. And I almost didn't make it because there were some last minute changes. Also, just my mental health was draining. I was pouring everything I had into this role. But me, I'm a bubbly person. I enjoy making other people laugh, finding the fun in the things that I do, and this wasn't the place for that. So I can definitely tell you that my happiness took a hit, and I was doing everything possible to push through. I had all of the sticky notes everywhere. I had the affirmations on my wallpaper on my phone. I had text messages being sent to me by friends. Don't forget to text me at noon. I need someone to encourage me. But what if I quit? I never stopped. I never took a moment to pause and think, what if I pause? What if I got another job somewhere else? What if I realized that, hey, this isn't for me? That's what this is about. It's about talking through some of these cliches, some of these things that we have been just it's been ingrained in us to accept them. And I want to challenge you to think differently. I want to challenge you to think outside of the box and really consider, is this the right role? Are you being true to yourself? Because winners do quit. It's funny because when winners quit, they call it retirement, right? Michael Jordan retired at 30 and he came back on his terms. Same thing with Tina Turner. She she decided when she wanted to retire and she came back to do maybe one more tour and then she was done. But that's so funny. It's like we always see it as like, this legend retired, uh, but winners quit and quitting is bad. Pump your brakes on that. Let's think through it. There are two more things I want to outline here when it comes to winners never quit. Sometimes we think about sunk cost fallacy. I've already invested 10 years here. I've already spent 5 months on this project. But what happens when you pause to evaluate that the juice isn't worth the squeeze? Sometimes you have to let go and accept, hey, I learned a few things along the way, but this process isn't working. It isn't working for me. It isn't working for the group. And instead of me investing my time, effort, and energy on getting the process to work, perhaps I should use that energy to put together some sort of outline or roadmap for leadership to understand why we need to move away from this project. Hey, don't get the messenger here. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just trying to help you think about things differently. What am I forgetting when it comes to winners never quit? Put some items in the comments because I would love to hear from you about how this cliche, like how it's resonating with you and what you would want other people to know, because it is true. Winners do quit. And maybe it's time for you to quit. And I want to challenge you. What's one thing that you've outgrown, even if it once felt essential, but you've outgrown it and you're ready to kind of let go of it? Think about that. One thing I know for a fact is keeping my work email on my phone and then taking my laptop with me on vacation, just in case, because it felt like a safety net. If something does blow up, if someone doesn't know how to send that email, how to run that process, they can always contact me because I'm a phone call away. And I'm always checking my emails periodically to make sure I'm not missing anything. But I just had a vacation last week and I had to fully unplug because I realized that I show up as my best self when I am fully rested, when I can recharge. And what's the point of having an awesome vacation if you don't even have the mental bandwidth to appreciate the things around you? Yeah, take that. Think about that. You don't have the mental bandwidth, right? You don't have the mental bandwidth. That's why you're on your phone just doom scrolling. What's happening in current events because we don't have anything to talk about at the table and we're in this awesome restaurant. Let's just sit in silence. Let's look around. Let's people watch. Let's watch the water. Let's listen to the different sights and sounds. All of these things are giving your mind ways to react differently, to recalibrate. It's giving your mind space for creativity. And often we overlook that, especially when we cling to this winners never quit concept. So if this hit home, I want you to subscribe because that's what I'm doing. I am unpacking these cliches that we hold on to dearly, and we end up sabotaging ourselves and burning out. What should I talk about next? I think the next one that really catches my eye is work smarter, not harder. I'll do that one next and have a listen to that. And if you're stuck and you really need some one-on-one help, because you're like, hey, I know that winners don't quit, but I have no clue. I offer one-on-one coaching, and I'll put the link down below in the notes so we can connect and figure out if we're a good fit to work together. Subscribe. Subscribe.